wine.
You're like, I have wine. I have sushi.
I had, did I have, oh, I had chicken tenders because when you messaged me, I was
Yes.
eating chicken tenders in bed because I
Yeah.
have been liberated. I do not have to spend my entire life on my couch now. I can go back to being who I really am, which is a
That's
bed person.
right.
I am a bed person. I like to
Yeah.
be in the bed doing
Yeah.
things. I like to, Jesus comes in and there's books everywhere and there's planners everywhere and pens and there's like and he's like, what are you doing? I was like, this is my nest.
Okay. I am not a bed person for reading. I don't like reading in the bed. Like every once in a weird blue moon, I'll be like, you know what? I don't want to leave the bed that I'm going to read in bed, but that is very, very rare. Now, I'll sit on my laptop in bed all day. I'll break out planners and be in my planners all day in bed, watch TV in bed. But reading, I don't really like it.
I like to do everything in the bed. I do everything in the bed. I will eat
No,
in the
no,
bed. I
no,
will sleep
no
in the
reading.
bed. I
I
will
get
read
out
in
and
the
get in my
bed.
chair. That's it. That's it. No, no.
Sorry.
No,
I
no.
like being in the bed. And now that Mercy has liberated me because she can go up and
Yeah,
downstairs,
exactly.
I'm a bed person again.
Exactly. It's been a long time, right?
It's been like 3 years since I haven't
Yeah.
had to sleep on the couch
Yeah,
almost every night. Yeah,
exactly.
it's just a long time. Well, the first was because Hemi couldn't go up and downstairs, and then it was
Mhm.
because he was old,
Mhm.
and we had to stop him from doing that. And then Mercy just didn't know how. And
Yeah.
Jesus could sleep up here and leave her downstairs. I can't. Like, she just cries. I can't sleep. It's the same way like Hemi. He cried so much, and then he would get angry and would
And
destroy
do
things.
stuff. Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, like I'll show you,
So,
mom. You want to leave me down here alone? Yeah.
hmm and then when he got really, really old, I really couldn't leave him because I needed someone to like pick him up and bring him outside like the second he needed to go, or he was gonna
Exactly.
have an accident everywhere because he was so old. Like when
Those are
that
trying
time
times.
Those were trying times, but I
Mhm.
wouldn't trade them for anything. So I got all
Yeah.
that time with my boy. So,
Yep.
um, yeah. So now I have my
Well,
little girlfriend, and she's just down here. You can't see her, people that are
I
watching
know,
the
and she's
video.
a big girl now because she can get up those steps. I'm a
She
big
does such a
girl
good
now.
job. Yeah. And she follows me everywhere.
All righty. Well, lady, what have you been reading?
Well, I just reread a book
I
because
love it.
I talked about this before, but I did an author interview this morning that's going to come out at some point, and I reread Can't Spell Treason Without T, which I always do the other way around. um, and this is by Rebecca Thorne. And this
Mhm.
got picked up. So this is originally indie published by Rebecca, and this got picked up by Tor Bramble, both in the US and the UK. They're doing
Mm.
a simultaneous pub uh, in UK and in the US
Same pub date?
on mhm, on May
Oh.
7th. And I think the hardbacks are in the UK first, and then paperbacks in the US. And they may be doing a hardback edition at some point in the US as well. And the
Nice.
second book already has a pub. So it's a 4-book series that technically you can read in any order, but it's best to read in
Mhm.
publication order. And the first two she had written in self-pubbed. So this is May. The second one, which is A Pirate's Life for Tea, comes out from Bramble in October. Um, and then she's got 2 more, I think, for 2025 as well that are already
Yeah.
written. I don't know anything about them. So, but anywho, so this is a cozy fantasy. We all know I do have a soft spot for cozy fantasy. This is a little bit more stakes than Legends and Lattes. So if you wanted a little bit more to it, this has it. If Legends and Lattes was just a little too slice of life, this has got a little bit more for you. But you have Raina and Kyanth, and Raina is a Queen's Guard, and Kyanth is this like all powerful mage, and the queen wants Kyanth as like part of her court, but Kyanth is like, screw you, you're
Yeah.
crazy, I don't like you. And she meets Raina one day at the castle, and they end up having this relationship that's forbidden, clandestine, all that. And they're always talking about how they need to run away and just like open a bookshop, a tea shop. Um, and one day things just come to a head and Raina escapes and they go to some little town and they open a tea shop and they go on a bit of an adventure because there's some stuff that's going on in this town. Obviously, there's dragons and griffins, and there's the queen might come and uh, come get Reina because it's like treason to just escape the Queen's Guard. And so
Mm,
there's all that tension of like, will the Queen find Reina? And it's just lovely. They have such a healthy relationship. There's no spice really in it, but there is two fully formed adult people having a relationship full of good communication and respect and things you
yeah,
want to see more of in books. And
exactly.
I it's cute and it's cozy and there's a baby griffin and I love it. I mean, if you just need something to make you feel warm and fuzzy and good, I add this to your list of warm and fuzzy and good books. I really like it. I
Yeah.
still need to read Pirates. I haven't read Pirates yet. But I will get to that obviously. And then she has another series that she's working on that I've read the first one. That one's darker. Love that one. It's called This Gilded Abyss. And then she has like a mystery book, like a witchy mystery book that just came out I think end of last year and I need to get that one too. So there's lots of stuff.
Hmm.
She is such a lovely person. She does a lot of helping of indie authors and stuff on TikTok and I love her. So can't spell
That's
treason
wonderful.
without T.
I know you really love it. You've
I
praised that
do.
book on more than one
A lot.
occasion. So I'm glad you
A
got to
lot.
interview the author.
I did. I
Yeah.
finally got to interview her. She is truly wonderful. I have so many copies of this book now. I have this is the I have the arc, the print arc. I have two digital arcs. I have the original digital arc that from the first version, and then
Oh
I
my
have this digital
gosh.
arc, and then I have the original self pub, and then I don't know. I think there's another one coming. It is. I have Rebecca Thorne books up the wazoo, and I'm not upset about it. I think they're great.
Oh, that's too funny. That's
Yeah.
too funny.
Mhm. So that's what I've been
Okay.
reading. I've been rereading that over the last few days and remembering how much I love that story.
I love it. I love it. I can't wait to see that interview. Okay, I am just fresh into a new advanced copy of Say Hello to My Little Friend by Janine Capo Crusette. Maybe that's how you say her name. Thank
Sure.
you, Simon and Schuster, for this gift of copy. This book comes out March 5th. Again, I'm only like 20 pages in, but we're following this guy, Ismail Reyes, and he is he's been kind of taking care of himself by being a pit bull impersonator. You know, Pitbull the rapper, a pit bull impersonator. This has been his gig on how to get money.
Rebecca,
Well,
Naomi, I was just reading this. I said, Rebecca, I did not expect those words to come out of your mouth. I'm just gonna say that at no point in my life did I think that you would be talking to me and say, and then he was making money being a pit bull impersonator.
that was a gig.
Continue. I'm sorry. That was
It's all good, but
a
uh
moment.
Pitbull and his team are not happy, and they have
Oh,
sent cease and desist letters. So he is no longer able to impersonate Pitbull. So now he's trying to figure out how is he going to make money. Well, he has decided that he is going to turn himself into a modern day Tony Montana. So
what is this book?
I don't know. I'm just going to see where it goes, man. It's just really interesting to start. So this is where we are. He's just had this revelation because, he doesn't want to get in trouble with these high-powered people. And this is the new high idea. I'm gonna turn myself into a Tony Montana. So that's kind of where I left. And I can't wait to dig back in and see where we go with this. So that's Say Hello to My Little Friend out March 5th. I know, it's so crazy. I don't know where the story's going.
I you know what? You gotta keep me posted
I
because
will.
I it could be phenomenal. I'm just saying. It could be phenomenal and, like, just a fun read and, like and outrageous and all that. But it also
Yeah,
just
cuz like
sounds a bit ridiculous.
I don't know if it's gonna just be like a fun read or like somehow it's gonna get like real serious. I have no idea. I can't tell where it's going. I'm too early in. I'm too early in. So I'm here for the ride. Okay.
Okay. Okay, Naomi. If you say so. Didn't expect that. Get the
Yeah.
book open.
Get the book open. Get
Mhm.
prepared for this episode. All right. So today we're gonna talk about some authors that are on our list that we want to read all of their works. I definitely am not a 100% author completionist. I don't ever have the desire to read the work of the full body of work of every author that I read, but
Mhm.
there are a good number that I do have on the list, and we're going to share those authors with you today. We're going to give you a total of 12 authors. Yeah. Are you going
Sorry.
first?
Oh, I can.
Oh,
Would you
wait, were
like me
you
to go?
raising your hand to go first or to say something? Or were you
You said,
stretching?
"Yeah," so I was yang with you.
Yeah. She's like,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So
Okay.
I don't know.
I
I
was
think
joining in your enthusiasm. Oh, did you
I
see my burns getting better? Look how much better my burn looks. Do you remember when it looked like I
oh
had, like, a disease? Anyway,
yeah.
at
Yeah.
work, they were like, "Those look like track marks," but I was
Oh,
like, "Those aren't even good track
like
marks,
thanks
okay? Those, like
guys.
they're not even, like, going into veins. They're just
Right.
like"
Like thanks guys.
Anyway,
Thanks a
sorry.
lot.
It's
No,
a
no,
burn.
no. I mean, I'm psyched. I'm psyched about it. Yeah, I'm excited to talk about these authors. Plus I want to see who you've got on your list and all that good stuff and yeah.
I think that my
Who's
list is pretty, obvious if you know me, some of these things, but you want me to start? Do you want me to start?
Sure. Yes.
Alright. We can start with something that we'll just start at the top. Okay. So I want to finish reading Melissa Broder's works.
Mm,
I think I've got 2 down and I own so I have read Death Valley, which I absolutely loved, and I think that's the reason I want to go back and read kind of everything.
yeah.
And I've read the Pisces, which I was like totally on board with the Pisces, and then the ending kind of like I don't know.
I remember
I
that.
do still I still kind of just feel like and I felt the same way about Death Valley is I like Melissa Broder's books. I just don't know if she knows how to end a book.
Like she can't stick the landing.
Like she can't stick the landing, but it's
Mhm.
fine. Like everything
Yeah.
else was fine. We land. It's not like we did. Like but
Right.
we get there. It's just a little bumpy as we
Mhm.
come to a stop. So I do have Milk Fed. So I do want to try that one maybe next. And then I did get this is a collection of some of her poetry collections. So it's a compilation of some of her poetry collections. Super Doom, but she
Uh-huh.
has some the complete ones that are out of print that I would have to try to find. So I do want to try to find like the full each collection that these
Yeah.
came from. And then I don't know what else she has out there, but whatever she does, I'd like to find it and read it. But this is just what I already own that I want to get
Right.
through plus anything else. So yeah, I do find her interesting and um relatable in some way. There's like something
Mm.
about it that I really connect with, and I just kind of want to read more and know
Yeah.
fully what I connect
Yeah. Yeah. I can dig it.
with. Hmm.
Yeah, I'm excited to read Death Valley. I know that's one of the other books on our list of books to chat about on the show, so I'm excited about that one as well. So,
Hmm.
yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So what do you got?
All right. I really want to dig back in to N.K. Jemisin. I read the Broken Earth trilogy a few years ago, which I thought was absolutely outstanding. I would at some point like to reread it again. So maybe after I've read the rest of her backlist, I'll go back and read the Broken Earth trilogy. And I've also read The City We Became, which is book one in her, I think it's called The Cities series. But I think she's a fascinating writer. I love how she builds
Mhm.
a world. She seems so smart. She's so intricate in her writing and her detailing of these worlds and these characters. And I just want to read everything she's written. Oh, I also read, and this is back in I think 2019. I did read her short story collection called "How Long Till Black Future Month" or something like that, which was really interesting because there's a short story in there that the city we became came out of that short story.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm. Kind of
That
like
I did
that
not know.
short story collection by what's his name? The guy that wrote Chain Gang All Stars. That came out of a short story
Oh,
out of that collection, Friday Black. Nana, I won't even try to because I don't have it in front of me. But N.K. Jemisin's high on the list. I really want to get through all of her stuff. So I feel like that'll take me a couple years, because she's got some nice chunky fantasy books, and I think she's got two series. She's got two other series, a Dream Blood series and the Inheritance series that are good chunkers. So yeah.
I need to go back and reread the first in the Broken Earth Broken Earth, right? Broken
Yep.
Earth trilogy. I know that I read it and I was blown away by the ending and it took so much big brain energy. And then I don't think that whoever I was reading it with we carried on. And so now too much time has passed
Yeah.
and I have to go back and start all over again.
Yeah.
Um, and I do need to go back to I have the Next in the Cities series, and I do need to read it because I really enjoyed that. I
Mhm.
know that book was very mixed for her, and I think it's
It
like
was.
for me, it was such an ode to a place I know and love so much that I whatever negatives there may be about it, I can't see them because I love the the way that she's personified New York,
Yeah.
and I think it's brilliantly done.
Well, I just heard a
And
lot
that
of people just saying like they just don't get it. I've heard
yeah,
that so many times about the city we became. Um
I think like I'm so close to that place. I think the closer you are to that place, the
mhm.
easier it becomes to get it. Um, which I don't know if that's good for a book. So perhaps the criticisms make sense. Like you shouldn't have to know so much to get it, but I'm obviously coming to the story with a whole different set of experiences and whatever's
Right. Right.
that maybe some other people are, which is what happens, which is why we don't all like the same books. Okay,
Well,
it's fine.
I recommended the city we became to our director because he
Mhm,
was born and raised in New York
mhm.
and he fell in love with it.
It is a
And
hundred
now he wants to
percent
read more from her.
like a love song to New York. It
Mhm.
is so. She has such a way of capturing the city
Mhm.
that is, and we've talked about this. We're like New York is such a obviously everybody has a connection to whatever their place is
Right.
and some of those places are cities, but I feel like of all the cities in the world that I've ever been to, and I've been to many places, uh, New York is such like a breathing beast of a place. It is something that is so ripe for being put into that personification,
Yeah.
the anthropomorphizing of a city. So
Mhm.
it makes sense because it is constantly growing. It's constantly changing. It is so freaking alive
Yeah.
and raw and dirty, and it's just such an interesting place. And it's not for everybody. I know not everybody loves New York, and but I love it.
Right.
I don't wanna live there anymore, but I
Right.
love it. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I will support that book.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. So, I mean, I've heard that her inheritance trilogy is just beyond. So I'm really, really excited to finally get, into that one. But yeah, she excites me as an author. She
Mhm.
really excites me.
I just don't think I can do a year where I do Hob, Malazan, and Jemison. I don't think I could
Oh,
do that in here.
no, no, you can't. Like, if anything, if I touch any Jemison this year, it'll be the Dream Blood series, which I think is 2 or 3 books. Oh no, it's 2 books. It's a duology, and
Mhm.
the rest to be for next year because they're too big, and there's so much other
Yeah,
fantasy that I want to read.
yeah. And
Yeah.
there's so much going on in them, and yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
she's a very interesting author.
Yep. Okay. Who else you got?
Um, Obvious Otessa Moshfegh. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think I have much left other than some small stories that she has written in like Paris Review and stuff. But I
Mm-hmm.
think Mercy, stop crying. I think that the only thing I have left is Homesick for Another World. Homesick for Another World.
Mm.
I haven't read. Um, I need to reread McGlue, and I also need to get a copy of it because I don't own it.
Okay.
And I think that's everything. I have to go and double check, but like I'm almost caught up. So which
Wow.
means she needs to write more.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay. You're
And
gonna be waiting.
that's why I have the t-shirt.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna be waiting.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Why do you have to reread McGlue?
Because I don't feel like I paid enough attention to it and I
I
want to give
see.
it more. I want to spend more time with it because I think I also feel like I just need to reread all of her books at some point, but
Yeah.
specifically McGlue because I feel like I predominantly listen to that on audio. I don't think I only listen to that on audio, and it's kind of different than everything else, and so
Yeah.
I just bit my lip and I think I'm bleeding. Um,
It's not funny, but
it is funny because I do this all the
uh,
time. Welcome to my ADHD. Um, but anyway, I just feel like I need to spend some more time with it. That's all.
yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Now, uh which one did you say is your favorite again? Is it still Rest and Relaxation or okay.
I think
Okay.
Rest and Relaxation because it's the first one I read, and I loved it so much that it gets like bonus points for being the intro.
Yeah.
And then I think Death in Her Hands would be next. And
Okay.
then probably Latvona because I think about that one a little bit too much. And
Right.
then um maybe Eileen. And then I don't know where
Hmm.
McGlue fits in there because I want to reread it.
Okay. Interesting. I'm interested to know what that Homesick for Another or Other Worlds is about and
Yeah,
how
it's
you
a
land
collection
with
of
that
short
one.
stories, and I don't think I've ever read any of her short stories. I know that she has a
Yeah.
few in like the Paris Review and stuff, but I haven't read
Mm-hmm.
any of them.
Mm. Okay. You're just making your way right on through that backlist of hers, aren't you?
Mhm.
Okay. My next author is Magda Szabo, and she is a Hungarian author. And I read her book The Door in 2021, and I just knew that I need to read everything that she had translated into English. I did acquire, I think I have now the other books of hers that have been translated into English. I have Abigail, Isa's Ballad, and The Fawn and something else. I got those last year, so I'll be reading those throughout the year. But I really like, I really love The Door, and I'm interested to see how these other books play out. I've heard quite a bit about, was it Isa's Ballad? I heard that was like a heart um wrenching story. So we'll see what that's about and where I land with it. But I I really dig her. I don't, I'm trying to remember how I even, I think I was on one of my deep internet searches. You know how I do. I think I was on one of those internet
Mhm.
deep dives, and she's probably listed on some translation blog, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds good." And kind of fell in love with that. So, I'm looking forward to reading the rest of her books.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I did like The Door, and I keep seeing people talking about reading it or having just read it, or it seems like it's constantly in people's minds,
Mhm.
which is always a good sign for a book
Yeah.
that it never seems to leave
Yeah.
the book of socials.
Right. So I
Um
was in the bookish hemisphere. Yeah. Yeah.
mhm. So,
Mhm.
um I next. um, Lily King. So I've
Mm,
only read Writers and Lovers, but I've
same.
found I love Writers and Lovers. I thought
I
that
did
was
too.
phenomenal.
I did too.
Um, and I've picked up Euphoria, and then this past weekend I found Five Tuesdays in Winter, which is a collection of short stories. And so I want to get through those as things that I own. And then it looks like she's got at least three others: Father of
Yeah.
the Rain, The English Teacher, and The Pleasing Hour. So I'm just very curious to see if her other works are like Writers and Lovers. Where do they fall? Um, do I like them? That kind
Yeah.
of thing. Um, it's funny putting together this list. There were people like I immediately wanted to put on there, but I've read all their books. Like I
Mhm.
wanted to immediately put like Sally Rooney. I've read all their
Right.
books. I just want to keep reading them.
Right.
But
Right.
then there's people like Lily King who I haven't read that much from, but I want to read them so badly. So
Yeah.
I will have to start prioritizing them more. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I really did like Writers and Lovers, and I do have Euphoria as well. And I'll read that fairly quickly. That's people are always talking about Euphoria, so that must have, it seems like that was possibly the book that really got her a lot of
launched her.
attention.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could be. It could be.
So
So
I'm
we'll
intrigued to
see.
get into that one to see what that's all about. So I like it. I like it. Okay. My next one is Cormac McCarthy. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think I have
Um,
any dudes on my list.
I got dudes on here, man. I got dudes on here. I do.
Okay.
I own now all of his books, and I have read The Road, and The Passenger, and Blood Meridian. But I am going to start over from and start reading them in publication order. Um, The Road, no, Blood Meridian and The Passenger. Those are books to be read multiple times because they just are. So I have no problem reading those again. So I'm going to be starting in publication order. But I really like his writing, and I am very interested to see, like, I want to see how he grows and changes through his books.
Hmm.
I listened to this podcast called Reading McCarthy, and it's hosted by a McCarthyian who knew that was a thing, but it is.
Oh,
No, a Cormacian.
people
And
are
so,
obsessed. Stuff.
well, it's people that study his works in school, and professors that teach his works. And so it's really interesting hearing them talk about McCarthy's works from their perspective, of people that have written papers on him and that teaches works. It's a great podcast. So I'm kind of addicted to it, but he interests me. Rest in peace, McCarthy. But yeah, I've enjoyed what I've read so far, but I can't wait to start from the beginning and work my way all the way up.
You'll get there
I shall.
eventually.
I shall.
A new contender for the
Mm?
list with one book down of many, and that is Robin Hobb.
Yeah.
We some of you out there knew I was gonna love Robin Hobb, and you know
Hmm.
what? You were right. I do. So I am partially. I am like, oh, I don't know, 60, 70% of my way through the second book in the first trilogy of The Realm of the Elderlings, and I'm loving it. I
Mm.
think it's great. Now, I have a plan of reading one of these every month, okay, with my friends. I don't know how long it's going to take me. I'd have to get my cheat sheet of Hob out. But it will take me more than a year. I think that there are more than four trilogies. I think there are five. So I don't think I'll
Yeah.
get through them all this year, but I will get through a lot of them if I stick to the schedule. But I'm really enjoying it. I've heard some criticism that the third books are always a little bit of a letdown, that she has a tendency to not land it either. Maybe that's my
Mm.
thing, is that I like authors who don't know how to
Who
end a
don't
book.
stick the
But
landing?
but you know, that's what it's like. So yeah, I have what, 6, 9, 12, 16 books in Realm of the Elderlings to get through. And I need to figure out which ones I don't have so that we can find them while we're at McKay's, if we
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we'll see.
Wow.
I'm
Yeah.
really enjoying it. I find the writing itself is very well done. The world building is exquisite. The slice of life stuff is
Mhm.
phenomenal. Um, it's just good. It's really good. I don't mind the bit of whininess from
Yeah.
Fitz, which I know that a lot of people kind of complain about Fitz being a bit of a whiny boy, but like, you know,
Yeah.
he's a teenage boy. What do you expect him to be like? Uh, I love it.
I mean, that tracks with what I have heard from many fantasy channels. That tracks what you're saying,
Hmm.
you know. It's interesting because Robin Hobb, like, I don't know what's going on, but in the fantasy space,
Hmm.
I don't know, she's gotten like this second, I don't know, or 50th wind where she's on everyone's tongues the last couple of years.
I
So
think it's
I don't know what that's about, but
so far
four
what I can
years
see
ago I
is
heard nothing about Hobb. The last two
it's
years
an
it's all about Hobb.
incredibly well written, at least these first two are like incredibly well written. So and I think in a world where we have a lot of pushed out quickly, not well written fantasy books, particularly in romantasy,
Mm-hmm.
or with some touching on romantasy,
Right.
that are really just there to be like consumed and forgotten. Things
Yeah.
like Hob are kind of evergreen in people's minds because it is so well done. And I
Mm.
think when you go from reading something like Sarah J. Mass, which I just read this month, third book in Crescent City,
Mm-hmm.
to then a few weeks later starting your next Robin Hobb, it is remarkable
Yeah.
the bump up in skill and expertise that occurs
And
between those two
execution, right?
and execution. It is remarkable. So
Yeah.
I think it's like a long play. Hob is so much better than like Hob is never going anywhere, and like not that I think Sarah J. Mass is going anywhere, but there's a lot of writers and authors and
Yeah.
books and things. Writers and authors are the same thing. There are a lot of writers and books that I think are they're gonna have their flash and they're gonna go, but Hob is not one of those because it has the legs. It's got legs.
I think she has Tolkien staying power.
She does. I think not to say that she is Tolkien because someone will yell at us, but I think she's got that kind of um, influence in the genre where she's a
Yeah.
mainstay, like
Yeah.
George R. R. Martin.
Right.
I think Raymond Feist has that as well. Robert Jordan,
Mm-hmm.
Sanderson, obviously,
Right.
and she's in A Sea of Men.
Yes, that she is. That she
So
is.
yeah, she's interesting.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm glad you're enjoying her.
I am enjoying it.
All right. James Baldwin is on my list because it's James Baldwin. He's got quite a few things for me to get through. I have read The Devil Finds Work, which is a collection of essays, and I've talked about that on this show before. I've
Mhm.
read The Fire Next Time, Giovanni's Room, which was a TBR Lowdown pick. You can go back and
So
listen to
good.
that episode. So good. And I've read Another Country, which right now, from what I've read, Another Country is my favorite,
Hmm.
for sure. So, just slowly working my way, through his backlist, just enjoying every bit of it. I own quite a few of his books, so I don't have many more that I need to acquire. So that's good. But man, what a phenomenal writer and
He is
critic. And critic.
he is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And he gets a mention in Miss Iceland as well.
Yes.
And I feel like his words were used very beautifully and well there.
Mhm.
I and I hope that that makes more people go out and pick up his books and read them.
Yeah.
I still think it's a crime that we did not get to, or that James Baldwin did not get to live into the audiobook
Oh,
era so that he could narrate his own stories. Because I
tell
feel
me
like
about it.
Baldwin doing Baldwin,
Top tier, 10 out of 10, no notes.
it's a
Can you
crime
imagine?
that we don't have
Oh,
that. Because
That
when you
would have
find
just been beyond.
excerpts of him, like little video clips of him reading
Mhm.
pieces of his work.
It's amazing. It's earth-shattering. I'm right there with you.
Mhm.
Yep,
Mhm. It's a crime. It's a crime against humanity.
truly.
Maybe this world would be a better place if we had James Baldwin doing his own audio narration.
If we
Now,
all had Baldwin in our ears.
perhaps somebody will make AI do that. I'm sure somebody will,
Oh, that's probably coming.
and that'll be a crime of different nature.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
anyway, so I've actually been sitting here and reworking my list as we talk. It's really fun.
Oh, okay.
So, I am going to swap something else out for Edith Wharton because I
Yeah.
there's so much Edith Wharton out there more than you think, and he, her, who's he? Her, her story is very interesting. Like
Mhm.
she comes from a very privileged background, and because of that, weirdly, she did not get to write because her mother was basically like, "What are you doing? You're
Right.
no, you're supposed to go like marry a rich man. What are you doing?"
Right.
Um, and so she ends up becoming a writer a little later in life, like officially. Um, so I find her very interesting, and I'm sure somebody will come in and can tell me that she does something racist because that's what everybody at that time did. But that's not the point here. Okay.
I like her.
I like her. Um, and let's see, I've read Age of Innocence a long time ago. The
Mhm.
Buccaneers a long time ago, which I think is technically unfinished.
It
Ethan
is.
Frome, of course, and more recently, I read The House of Mirth, and I think The House of Mirth is what really solidified my like
It's so
needing
good.
to read her whole catalog of books.
It's so good.
Uh, and Ethan Frome is very dark. If you've never read it, it is
I
a
have that.
darker.
I have Ethan
It's a
Frome.
darker book.
I have Age of Innocence. I have and have read House of Mirth. and I have Custom of a Country. I found a copy of the Buccaneers, but someone had just like so heavily annotated it, which left no room for me to annotate it that I put it back on the shelf.
Yeah, so I don't have a lot of her work. I have everything I've already read. And then I have Twilight Sleep, which I'm not sure what that is. But like at
Hmm.
some point I do want to find more of her things, and I think that'll probably be on the list for when we go to McKay's and go
Yeah,
shopping together. But again, I don't think that I always find that that's something that's harder to find because either they're more obscure titles that
hmm,
people don't really read, so therefore the people don't really like get rid of them, or people are just holding on to them because they're classics.
exactly.
Um, but yeah, I really want to get more into Edith Wharton. I think that she has a really interesting voice, and I think that she's interesting because some of what she says in her stories feel like they shouldn't be coming from what is effectively a middle-aged housewife
Hmm.
of privilege. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yep.
Um, like they're a little bit more edgy than I would think. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I'm just curious, and I find her whole backstory very interesting. And on my list, because if you watched my vlog, I said I made a list of like day trippy kind of things to do, and on that list is actually her house, which isn't really open till the spring. Because I really want to go to her
It's
house
gonna
in
be
Lennox,
awesome.
Massachusetts. So
That's
we're
gonna be
gonna get there
fun.
eventually. So I want to read more, especially in preparation for that.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Hmm.
My next author will be no surprise to anyone, but it's Elena Ferrante.
You?
Listen, all
I
right.
didn't think you
So
liked Elena Ferrante.
I know, right? Who is she? So I have already gone through and read all of Ferrante's English translated fiction, all of it. So now I'm going to be reading her nonfiction. I just ordered her 3 nonfiction books that she has the other day. So those will be coming soon. She talks about, writing. She gives insight into decisions and choices that she's made as a writer. And I just adore her and her story so much. I do want to know about what she thinks from a writer's perspective. So I'm excited to get those 3 books in and to dig into those. And then that will be, I would have exhausted it. I would have completed all the works that have been translated into English um, by Elena Ferrante. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited. I'm psyched. And I do plan to reread the Neapolitan Quartet in August.
August.
Woman in Translation Month.
Maybe I'll join you.
I'm so excited.
We'll see. I'm not promising anything.
I
But,
know. I know.
maybe I'll join you. So I've reworked the list again. So I don't know, like sometimes when we sit here, I think, and it's
Oh
different.
my gosh.
Because if I'm being honest with myself, some of these were
Yes.
stupid choices.
Oh, okay.
I need to finish all of Virginia Woolf's books, and
Mm,
I have read many of them, and I don't know how she wasn't on this first pass of a list.
yeah.
Um, ugh, let's see. Of what I own, I think I need to read The Common Reader, The Voyage Out to the Lighthouse. I have something called Moments of Being, which I think is just a collection of essays.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's other books, and I would need to do a deeper dive. I think there's more essay collections, things like that.
Right.
But yeah, I need more Virginia Woolf. And then I was looking at, when I was at the bookstore over the weekend, I was looking at a couple, because there was a whole Bloomsbury section in this used bookstore, which I thought was very interesting, that they would specifically have a Bloomsbury shelf.
Yeah.
uh, and they had a couple not autobiographies, they had a couple biographies of Virginia Woolf. And I was tempted to get one, but then I was like, oh, I don't know which one to get because I want to get like a good
Mm,
one. And it felt weird getting an autobiography of Virginia Woolf that was written by a man. That felt weird. So I kind of want to find one that's written by a woman. And
yeah.
then my friend Kieran is also reading her journals, and I really would
Oh,
like to read all of her journals because I think that she would be fascinating to read her journals of. And I also just
yes.
imagine, not that I journal like this, and I'm sorry, Mercy is crying because she wants to go downstairs. I just like to pretend in my head that I am the kind of person that, one, chronicles their life like that, and
Mm.
two, that anybody when I am dead would want to read the chronicles of my life.
I get it.
I
Yeah.
keep I keep a 5-year journal, right? So
Yeah.
every day I write a little bit, a couple lines a day. And it is embarrassing how uninteresting my life is. And I don't think that
Oh,
anybody
stop
wants to read
it.
like, I freaking hate this job, or like, yep, another person died, or like
Oh
whatever.
my gosh.
I'm still really tired. But in my head I feel like
Right.
I would be like, it would be like Virginia Woolf. Like you'd pick
Yeah.
it up and you'd be like, I need to know what Nerdy Nurse Reed was thinking in March of 2023.
Exactly. Oh my God. It's so funny. I can't with you.
What?
But isn't it just really about just doing it to just fulfill yourself?
Yes, which is why I do it. But then I
Yeah.
think like, what will happen to all these things when I'm dead? Because I don't have children. I think about this often. Like, what happens when I die? This is all going to go to auction. Nobody cares. But when what if you find things like in a junk shop in like decades from now when I'm dead? What if somebody like loves it? What if I influence? Like, I feel like, what are you doing, dog? I
Somebody
feel
down
like,
in Tulsa is gonna like find it and be inspired.
I'm telling you, like
Just
all
saying.
my old journals with my random terrible poetry in it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
What if
You
I'm
don't
like
know. You
what
don't
if
know.
I'm like the next Emily Dickens?
Or what if you become some kind of a like, I don't know, you build some kind of a weird cult following. The
You never
unpublished
know.
works of Nerdy Nurse Reads. I'm just saying, all of a sudden there's this collection of poetry going around called bad poetry, and the next thing you know, cult classic.
Cult classic, but I'm
And
dead.
then what happens? The publisher gets a whiff of it. They contact your estate, and then boom, now
Who's
it's
managing my estate, Naomi? I'm dead. I'll leave it
your
all to
brother.
Caleb.
He's
Everything
going to
goes to
outlive you.
Caleb. Everything goes to Caleb. I'll just give everything to your grandson. It's fine.
He'll write the introduction because he's quite the writer himself. He'll write the
It'll be cute.
introduction.
Yeah. But, like, this is why you have to do paper. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, we do not have anything. First of all, do you have any more books to talk about, the authors to talk
Oh,
about
yes,
before I
my
take us
last
on a
one.
tangent?
My
Take us
last one.
do that, and then let's go on our tangent. But
Okay.
let me be
All right.
responsible.
This last author
Mercy.
is my latest author obsession. Okay.
Mhm.
And it is Jhumpa Lahiri. Now, I've wanted to
Oh.
read Jhumpa Lahiri for quite a long time. And last year, I finally acquired three of her books: Interpretive Maladies, The Namesake, and Unaccustomed Earth. Now, she's so fascinating to me because I think she won the Pulitzer for this Interpretive Maladies, which is a short story collection.
Mhm,
But about 10 years ago, she just kind of like immersed herself into mastering Italian, right? So these are
mhm.
written in English, yes, but then she started writing in Italian. And then she started translating her books that she wrote in Italian into English. I'm just so fascinated with her. Like, who does that? But then she's also a translator for other people. So to tie in the Elena Ferrante, because supposedly that could be a pseudonym for Domenico Starnon. I've got
Mhm.
three of his books that I bought last year. And who translated these? Jhumpa
Her.
Lahiri. I mean,
Oh
like,
my
I'm
god.
just all in a.
It's just a whole thing.
I love it. But
Mercy.
I am just so fascinated with, I guess, her passion for literature and for learning. I mean, it's who translate their own books. I'm obsessed. That's all I can say. She's my new obsession. So, I plan on getting through all of her works. She's
That
got
is
everything:
exciting and
novels,
wild.
essays, short stories. It's so wild.
That is
It's
wild.
so wild.
That is wild.
Yeah. Oh,
Alright, so my rabbit
also,
hole. Oh,
hang
sorry.
on. This I didn't notice this when I bought it, but Jupiter Harry wrote in this. She gave this to
Oh,
someone. It says, for
interesting.
Bliss. For Bliss, it was so wonderful to meet you and read together. Congratulations on your book, Jupiter Harry, September 23rd, 1999.
Well, I guess they got rid of that. Um, that's funny. I do like when you find things scribbled in a book, but I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever found anything that good. Um, so my rabbit hole that I was gonna take us
Yes.
down. We need to write more things down. Do you think about all the things that we have put on a computer somewhere that you will never have again? I think of how many things I have written in my life that are on like a hard disk, a CD-ROM, things that you're never going to be able to get back again, flash drives
Yeah.
that are in the back of a
Oh my
drawer and
gosh. Don't
sort
even
of
talk about it.
sort of rusty. Notebooks, people. We need to write more things down. And then I was also thinking, so a lot of this came out of reading Possession by A.S. Byatt, and being back in like the late 80s, and how we don't we I miss letters, okay? I miss having like a physical tangible exchange with somebody
Yeah.
because I think about this woman I used to work with, my old boss. She married a British guy,
Hmm.
and when they were doing their whole like citizenship stuff for the US, they had to like prove, that he's not just there for a green card, cuz why would a British person want a US passport anyway. So they had to like pull out all of their letters cuz they started
Hmm.
dating in like the mid to late 90s, and so they had all these letters back and forth between them across the pond, and that was part of their case, right? What if he wasn't a US citizen and I had to prove to the government
Right.
that Jesus and I had a relationship? What do I have? What do I have?
Did you
Memes?
see the Instagram post, sir?
What?
That's what you have. That's what
Here's
you
this
have.
Tolkien meme I sent him. This is how we have a.
Yeah.
I I I want to go back to more papery, slower things. I don't know if this is my midlife crisis or what, but like I want to start writing
Yeah.
letters again. I want to slow the frick down. I don't want my whole life to be dictated by an algorithm.
Well, yeah.
Naomi.
I gotta say, I'm with you on the
Meanwhile,
letters.
I create
You know,
content.
I
I
mean, we
create
do,
content.
we do,
I
but you're
have
hitting
to be victim
something
of
on the
the
letters.
algorithm.
You're hitting
I
something on
do. I
that.
miss it. I feel like we share so much that we don't share anything with all this instant communication.
Yeah,
Whereas when you would write a letter, I feel like you would spend time thinking about what you really want to say to that person. And it's not just like, I saw this meme.
exactly.
Let me do, I don't know. I feel like it was different and I miss
The anticipation too of like so I grew up in the 80s and I grew up in
it. Mhm.
California, but a lot of my friends and my dad lived in Maryland. My dad wrote me letters every single week. When I say, I
Yeah.
mean every week, and I
Hmm.
responded back to each one. And I wrote my friends letters. That is how we communicated. And I had all the cute
Hmm.
little stationery. I mean, letter writing was a thing.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, that feeling when you get a letter in the mail from a family member or your friend, that excitement and that joy that you feel, that
Hmm.
we do not have that anymore. I would not. But then I thought, if I wrote a friend the letter, would they even freaking open it, or would they?
I
You know
would.
what I mean? Like, would they open it?
I would.
I don't know.
But I also think that you wrote more meaningfully to each other
Absolutely,
and
absolutely.
you wrote more personally because it was it was shared in a letter. Like you
Yeah,
don't I don't
yeah,
I miss it. I miss it
yeah,
near me. So write things down, folks. Write things
yeah.
down.
I had the cutest. I had a writer's desk.
Oh.
When I was a kid, and
Hmm.
again, just so much stationery, so many
I
beautiful
had so much
pens.
stationery.
Yeah, it was
Yep.
just so crazy. And man, what a time.
You
Look,
were
there are
right.
kids
All
that
your
never experienced that.
It was so much fun. I would go to
Yeah,
camp and write letters to my
yeah.
parents and my grandparents, and every week I would write a letter,
Mm-hmm.
or like every couple days if something tremendous occurred. And
Right.
then after camp, all your friends and then your home friends would write to you while you were at camp, and then vice versa when you were home. I have letters. I had letters all the way into like high school because I had one of my
Yeah.
girlfriends. I found it the other like day in a box of stuff for my mom. Like one of one of my friends went to this they got to do this semester at the island school, which is like some you basically did school in like the Bahamas or something like
Mm-hmm.
that, but it was very interesting. It was like it was like almost like survival school. Like you
Yeah.
did you ran every morning, you had classes, you learned how to do different skills. It was kind of cool, honestly, and I
Yeah.
kind of wish I had gone, though I couldn't have done all the running. But she would write. I found like one of her the pages of just very personal, loving, caring, deep connection sent from a friend in like high school still. So like
Right.
this is what, like 99,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
2000, we're still doing this.
Let me
I miss
blow
it.
the folks' minds even greater. Um, there was a time when everyone had to use a camera to take photos. And I was so like I danced all my life. That was what I studied when I was growing up. And mom would take pictures of my performances, and we would go to the local drugstore and give them the
Uh-huh.
roll of film, and they would develop the photos and give us the photos. And then we would get double copies because I wanted to put some of those photos inside the letter to send my dad and
Mhm.
my friends. And that's how we shared photos back in the
Mhm.
olden times.
And you didn't take as many embarrassing photos because some stranger had to develop those photos.
Exactly. Exactly. But like that was even like extra excitement when you got the envelope and you felt it was like a little firm. You were like, there's photos in here. So exciting.
It was a good time. I do miss it.
Yeah.
And I know like you'll never fully get it back, but I do kind of wonder, how do you recapture some of that
I know.
slowness?
I know.
Is
That's the great question, right? How do you
Yeah.
get just a piece of it back?
Because like
Mm.
there is a lot of benefits. Obviously, you and I get to do this in different states
Yeah.
and talk to each other and have a podcast and
Sure.
talk to all of you people
Absolutely.
that are listening, and all of that is phenomenal.
It is.
But
It is.
I do miss that like slower pieces. It's sometimes overwhelming how
Yeah.
connected we are and how much we share and how much
Yeah.
we know about each other and how constantly it would be nice to slow down a little bit.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah.
Do any of you listeners still write letters? Just I'm
Do
very
we need a
curious.
pen pal club? Do we
Oh my
on the
goodness,
tier?
yes.
Do we need a pen pal tier on the Patreon?
Oh my goodness. I still remember during
Because
the
don't tempt me, I can make it happen.
I still wanted to do this was like when we were all in the big, chat group on Instagram when it was the worst time ever. And I wanted us to like read the same book and like each have our annotation in it and then like send it to the next person and go round and round and round and round and round. We never got there, but
I think that
I
would be
still want
really
to do
fun
that. I
if
still want to do
I
that.
read a book, annotated it to and sent it to you,
Yeah.
and then you did the same.
I still want to do it.
I think it would be really interesting.
It would be. It would be. Yeah.
Mm,
Ah, good times. That made me
mhm.
smile.
Right? But
Yeah.
it was I miss it. I don't miss phone calls.
Oh man, I love the phone so much when I was younger.
I did too, but I don't miss phone calls. That I don't miss. I think that they're too intrusive. I want something less intrusive. I think
Yeah.
that getting text messages and having that become a thing taught me how much I don't like the intrusive nature of
Yeah.
a telephone call.
Yeah.
But
I
I
think
do like
being a grown up, that's when I realized, oh, it's just not so easy to just like stop what I'm doing to like have a phone conversation.
yeah,
Those are just adult things, when you're a teenager, it's like whatever. I always have
yeah.
time, but a working adult, it's like, oh, I'm just starting dinner. It's
I just started relaxing. Leave me
yeah,
alone. Yeah.
yeah.
But I don't know how you bring back like letters and stuff because like I would write you letters, but what's the point? You're gonna hear everything anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, that just made me sad. Yeah, yeah. I know what you mean.
I just be like, I'm not gonna talk to you anymore. I'm only talking to you via letter.
Right. Right. Oh, that's sad.
Right?
That's so sad. Oh my gosh.
But then I thought, like, what if I just start because I dabble in my very amateur watercolors and I bought postcards. What if I just started making little postcards and randomly sending them to
Oh my
friends?
gosh. I would probably cry
Would you
because it
cry?
would be so nostalgic.
I might do it just to make you cry. Like happy cry, not
Seriously.
like sad cry. Like not
No,
where it'll
like
make
that
you sad cry.
nostalgic, happy feeling?
Hmm.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
Gosh.
because most of your mail now is bills or stuff you bought yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Not
Anyway.
bills. Those all come in email. I don't want bill envelopes.
Oh, I get a couple bills. I have a couple things that I hold on to that I feel like I have to pay my own self. I use online banking anyway to pay for it, but like I need that like physical step of me paying for it. I think to know the comfort that I know that it's been paid.
Mm.
If like I need to know that
I
I
pay
have paid
everything.
it.
I just mean like I don't get a bill in the mail. I
No,
do
I
get the
mean
bill
like
via
I don't.
email.
I have a lot of things set up on automatic, but there's certain things
Oh, you
where like
do?
I want to know that I have paid it. Like
I want to
I
know I
want to get it
paid
in my hand.
everything.
I wanna get it in my hand, and I want to then take it, and I wanna I want all of those muscle memory things of me sitting down, going to the thing, putting my online banking thing in, writing down on the envelope that I paid it on this day. I think it comes from when I didn't have a job and I was getting divorced and I had no money, and, like, there's certain things where I got a lot of stress around money, and so there's some things that I need to know. It's like utilities and stuff, like, I need to know
Oh,
that I have paid for the things that are the basic necessities of my life.
I don't like automatic payments because I don't trust people and I always think like someone's gonna hack my shit. The only thing I have one thing that's on auto pay, and that's because that's the only way you can pay it, and that's my storage. And that is in
Yeah.
another account that's not attached to anything else. That's how weird I am when it comes to my money and my accounts. I am like just freakishly worried all the time that somebody's gonna hack my stuff. So that's why I don't like
Well,
automatic payments.
it is exhausting because 'cause I've had that happen, so it is terrifying.
Yeah.
That's how I ended up getting pulled over for not having car insurance when I had car insurance because, I got my identity stolen, and then when I was cleaning that all up, uh, somehow my insurance didn't get paid, and then, like, it went lapsed for, like, a week, and then, like, they canceled it, and then I put it back up, and this is all, like, it was less than 10 days that this all occurred in,
Yeah.
and it all got sorted, and everything was fine because there was so much to clean up, right?
Yeah.
And, I got a letter from the DMV and they were like, blah, 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 this happened. You may get a fine. Okay. I may get a fine. Okay. Never heard anything again. And then it's months later, months, Naomi, months. I'm driving upstate to see my family and I get pulled over. And the guy almost kills me to pull me over. Like he does some like crazy move across the highway to get me. Like I almost died. He almost killed somebody. It was a whole thing. And because he ran my plates and it said I was driving without insurance. So he was like, gotcha. And I pulled over and I was just crying. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, officer. And I'm showing him my insurance. I was like, this thing happened months ago. I paid it. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Everything got sorted. It was like 1 week. He's like, the DMV has your plates listed as not having insurance. So he like worded the summons and everything so that I could get out of it, basically.
Oh my
But he had, because
gosh.
he ran my plates, he has to keep going,
Yeah.
right? I go to the DMV like the following day and they're like, oh, you owe us $40 for this thing. I was like, but you never sent me an invoice. I can't, you let me I like in that time period, I like renewed my registration. I like got
40
my cards.
freaking
I did
dollars.
all these things and you couldn't
And not
tell me.
once.
Not once did you say, hey, you owe us $40.
Shh.
I was like,
Good old MVA DMV. Just way to go,
ma'am,
guys.
ma'am, I would have paid you if you had just sent me an invoice. And she's like, I did send you an invoice. It was dated this day. I was like, I have that letter. This is what that letter says. I don't have any more letters.
Oh my gosh. It's I'm not surprised. That's the bottom line. I'm
Yeah.
not surprised.
So, yes, having your stuff hacked and your identity stolen is terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Mhm. Mhm.
That's a long story to say. It's terrible.
It
So
is.
the
It's okay. It's
so the
okay. I
the
like it.
judge laughed when I went in for my summons. He laughed because I went up there. It was far away. I drove really far to go up and do this thing. And the lady that like negotiates or the person
Yeah.
who negotiates with you to whatever, just get your money. And
You don't have to get your
she
money.
she was like, "Yeah, everybody was really confused about this. This doesn't make any sense." And I'm like, "Uh-huh," because I had like the insurance company wrote a letter that said at the time this person was pulled over, they were insured and this is their policy and boopity boo. And she's like, "This is very confusing." And then I went to the judge and he's like, "Yeah, nobody understood what this was. So did you have insurance?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "So why are you here?" I said, "I don't know," because you sent me a summons. He said, "Yeah, no, we're not. Just get out of here."
That
I
is
was here for like
ridiculous.
20 minutes. I drove an hour and a half each way.
That is ridiculous. I cannot.
All because the DMV couldn't tell me I owed them $40.
This is what they do. So that just shows like the DMV everywhere is a mess.
Mhm.
One flag and like that thing could just ruin everything. I don't know what it is
Mhm.
about that department. Well,
But man, they can ruin your life, let me tell
they
you.
really can. They really can.
Yeah,
Anyway, that's crazy.
yeah. So
Recommendation time.
don't let your insurance lap everybody, even
Don't do it.
accidentally.
Don't
It's
do it.
not worth it. And just
Don't do it.
assume you have a fine, even if it says you may incur a fine. You have. Just
You
go
have
pay it.
one. You have
You
one.
have one.
You have it. Know it. All
Anyway,
right.
so you want me to go? You want to go? Who wants to go?
You can go. You can go.
So I finished this. I think I finished this last night. I don't remember. So this is Poor Dear by Claire Oshetsky, who wrote Chouette,
Hmm.
which I also really loved. And this is their most recent book. It came out January, I think. I love this. It's so good. I love the way that Claire the author, I'm not gonna be able to say her name for someone. Oshetsky. Oshetsky.
Oh, Shetsky. Okay.
Oshetsky. I can say it.
Yeah.
I love the way that she writes stories. I find them so very fascinating. So like Chouette is all about a mother with a child who has disability, and the way the story is told is this mother has this baby owl, and it's all about a baby owl, and this disabled child is this baby owl, and that's how the child is different, and
Hmm.
and it's such a lovely way of talking about disability, and it's such a moving and sad and wonderful story. It's so good and I highly recommend anybody to read it. But Poor Dear also is oh, it's just so good. So I've you ever like really love a book and you don't know how to talk about it? So
Yes.
so Poor Dear is about basically about the consequences of making a mistake that you don't understand because you're too young to understand them, and how that mistake will haunt you for the rest of your life.
Got it.
So it's
Mhm.
about a young girl and her good friend, and one day they're like 4 years old. Her friend dies. Okay. And that death basically haunts her for the rest of her life. And she has this like baby deer on her back called Poor Dear that is like her guilt and her grief. And it is
Oh,
constantly trying to make her face the truth of the things that have happened in her life and the things that she has done. Um, and so the story is constantly being retold, and you do move
mm,
forward in time, but there's a lot of backtracking where like you will get through a section of story and then baby deer comes out and says, that was not what that story, that's not the truth, that's not how that went, stop rewriting the story. And then you kind of go back and then you go forward again. And
wow.
it's a really interesting look at the stories we tell to make ourselves cope or to help us cope, the way we lie to ourselves, the way that we make mistakes and have to sort of face them, but maybe can't. Processing guilt. It's so beautifully done. It's such a good story. She's such an amazing
Sounds so
storyteller,
good.
and I love it. Um, I love this book so much. It was phenomenal. I think this is the second book I've read of hers. Like knocked it out of the park again. 2 for 2. I will read anything she writes. It is phenomenal.
Wow.
I like the way she crafts a story and the way she uses almost like otherworldly fairy tale like elements to tell these stories. And I this one's particularly good because it feels so unsettling. You don't quite know what really is truth.
Mm,
And you get so many alternative stories from our narrator, and so many of them you want to be true. And a lot of the time, a lot of the story, I was reading it and I'm thinking, like, I really just want somebody that she can just tell the truth to. And I don't know if she ever fully gets that. Um, there was a
that's
couple
sad.
moments where she appears to, but then also it's so unreliable. A is it something that is from her imagination to make herself feel better, or did this really happen? I don't know. It's so good.
Mm.
It's really, really
Now
good.
you've made me want to read that.
It's short. You'll love it. It's really good. Poor
That
dear. Please read it.
sounds
And
so
then read
interesting.
Chouette. I love Chouette. Yeah,
Wow.
it's really good.
Okay. I have to add that to my list. I like how that
Phenomenal.
sounds. All
Phenomenal.
right. Well, I am recommending Interpretive Maladies by Jubal Lahiri. And this is a collection of short stories. This is the first book I've read of hers. And I was at a silver diner having breakfast for dinner and reading this, and I was just blown away. I've read a few of these stories a few times. I've read the first story probably 4 or 5 times. It was following a married couple who recently lost a child, and they're in their home, and the neighborhood is getting ready to experience a scheduled power outage. And
Hmm.
so they decide to, just, stay in the house, light some candles or whatever. And they have a power outage, and they decide to have a conversation in the dark to tell each other whatever's been going on in their minds, whatever's on their heart. They're just gonna tell it in the dark during this power outage. And things got really real, things got really thick. And what really unfolded was you just realize that this couple is just breaking down under the loss and the grief of losing their child. And it was just so real and so sad.
Hmm.
um I don't know. I could not stop reading it. And I'm not going to say anymore because the end of that short story was like, oh shit. It was one of those moments,
Hmm.
because it got super real at the end. And it was like, and then that was that. And I was like, wow. And then I like read it again, like right after it. I read it 2 times in a row. But there's so many great short stories in here. She's a phenomenal writer. Highly recommend if you've never given her a read. I would absolutely start here.
Is she the one who wrote the Buddha in the Attic one?
No, that's Julie Otsuka,
Ah, sorry.
whom I also love.
I know.
Yeah, that's
Eh,
my recommendation. Oh, Jupiter Harry, I want to meet her.
perhaps
I
one
want to
day
meet
we
her. I
will.
want to talk to her. I want to sit down and just have a conversation about all the things. I'm just so intrigued by her.
You're
Yeah,
gonna tell her how Julia or whatever her name is, Bliss, got rid of her book.
sure am.
Bliss is dead. Watch.
Probably. You never know. I mean, Jupiter's close to us. She lives in Jersey.
No, that's not far.
Mm-hmm. So who knows? Anyway, this was a fun episode.
It was. Apologies for making a rambly one, but
I
it
like it.
happens.
I
I'm
like
here.
it.
It's what I do.
This is a conversational, bookish
Podcast.
podcast.
It's something. It's something. Oh
Anyway,
god.
folks, are you a part of our Discord? Join it. Join the Discord. Join it. The link's on our website at
Yes.
tbrlowdown.com. The link is also in our bio on Instagram at TBR Lowdown. Follow us everywhere at those places. Tell all your friends about us. People like to read now. It's a sexy, hot new thing to do. So tell all
It
your
is.
friends.
Have you seen the numbers pulling people are pulling on booktube newbie tags these days?
Yes. Yeah, it's crazy because I think I texted you and I was
Who
like,
are
the
these
amount of
people?
new people that are coming in my YouTube feed with the booktube newbie, it's like so many.
I mean,
So
welcome,
many.
welcome, but oh
Yeah.
my god. How did you just show up and you're getting like 20,000 views?
Because now reading is like super hot.
Well, I'm not hot.
It's like I just feel like the audience is like primed and ready. And I feel like everyone wants to start a booktube as well.
Yeah,
So
I think there's a bunch of people I've seen that have like this is their second or third channel. They do some other things. They want to like make some book content and they already have
yeah,
like, like 10,000 subscribers. You're like, "Who are you?"
exactly.
Some
Exactly.
of us has been here forever.
I will tell you that I'm happy to see more seasoned readers starting booktube channels because
You
it's
mean
nice
old
to
people?
see, yeah, older
Old people?
people. It's nice to see folks around my age that are starting channels or sharing what they love to read. I'm digging that too.
I am old people.
Yeah, I am the old. So anyway,
I am
yeah,
I am the old people. I am she.
I
She
am the
is
old. I am
me.
she. Yes, it's me. It's me.
It's
Yes,
me.
folks. Share TBR Lowdown with everyone. They'll
Yes,
appreciate it.
please.
Oh, and leave us a review wherever you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever. Leave us a review if you are so inclined. We appreciate it and thank you in advance. And that's
Oh,
going to do
can
it
I
for
do a
us. Oh,
shameless plug?
heck yeah,
Wait, can I
you
do a
can.
shameless plug?
Heck
Is it's
yeah.
my podcast, it's our podcast. I
Yeah.
can do that. So I made a second channel, speaking of second channels, and it is all music for like reading, relaxing, just hanging out, whatever. But it's all like chill vibes. It's called She Reads Music, and she reads music for readers, whatever. Find it on YouTube. So we can link it in the show notes. Go subscribe if you like, because
Mm-hmm.
like Naomi and I both love sound rooms.
Yeah.
So I just basically made a channel and I watch my own sound rooms now. So,
Yeah. Yep.
but yeah, and if you have like an artwork that's in the public domain that you would like me to use as a graphic for it, let me
Yeah.
know. Hit me up because I've been trying to uh, track down some really fun ladies for
Yeah.
for different artwork. That are like just a bit moody, just a little bit something something.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, let me know. Go follow it.
Yes.
She reads music for readers and find me on the YouTubes. Look in the show
Yes.
notes, all that fun stuff.
Yes.
And have fun. Listen to some music while you read. There's
That's
no
right.
talking because I guess that's weird. It's all just
That is weird.
no lyrics,
Right.
lyricless music
Yes.
for you to
Perfect.
relax, to study, all that fun stuff. I'm rambling
Exactly.
now. Anyway, you should wrap this up. You're like,
All right.
exactly. You are rambling. Shut up, Alyssa.
No, like she said, the link will be in the show notes. So go ahead and click subscribe and add that. If you're like me and you have an ambiance YouTube playlist, just go ahead and
Yeah.
add it in there.
Add it in there.
Add it
Keep
in there.
adding stuff in.
Yep,
Yeah.
add it in there. All
Mhm.
right, folks, that's gonna do it for us. We are out of here. Bye.